seat was called for the Republicans in Montana, so that now puts it 52, still waiting on some more races, 6 more undecided. Let's take a look at the House. We also got some more numbers in here. Republicans inching closer to that majority, 215 you need to get that breakdown. Democrats, though, at 180. Of course, we're continuing to follow that race between Don Bacon and Tony Vargas. Let's take a look now, though, at those numbers over here. So when we pull up our map of CD2, we see Don Bacon leading 51% to Tony Vargas's 48%. Now that lead was flipped until about 2:30 this morning. And why is that? Well, there was a large number of votes coming out of Saunders County, about 5,000 votes. Those were released, and that made those numbers switch. So this is still too close to call. We're still going to be following this for you throughout the morning. I don't know, for our viewers at home who were looking at that graphic, if you saw up in the top corner, 99% of the vote in. We just had this updated here on the touch board. Of course, though, we do have to wait until AP News calls the race to officially declare who has won. But again, right now, Don Bacon, 51% of the vote, Tony Vargas, 48% of the vote. Now, when we look at CD2, this makeup is a little bit different when we compare it to 2020. That's because, 2022. That's because of some redistricting. And a large reason why we saw this shift, because if you were watching our coverage last night, you saw Tony Vargas in the lead when it came to the vote totals. But around 2:30 in the morning, we got a large influx of votes in from Saunders County here. And when we take a look specifically at Saunders County, 75% of people in that county voted for Bacon, 24% for Vargas. So when those votes came in around 2:30, we got that shift, Bacon coming out on top there. So of course, we are still waiting to officially call this. When we look at Douglas County, though, Tony Vargas leading there, 51% compared to Don Bacon, 48%. And then the small sliver in Sarpy County, Gretna, Springfield area, we have Don Bacon leading 65%, Tony Vargas 34%. Now, of course, we are still waiting to find out because there are still a lot of races yet to be called in the U.S. House. Similarly to this, we're going to be waiting to find out more about this. You do need to get to 218 to hit that majority. Still waiting to find out, seeing if this is going to head to Republicans or Democrats. Yeah, thanks, Cerise. So we do want to take a look at the breakdown of the U.S. House right now. Since our last update at the end of daybreak, only one other race has been called. Democrats getting that one seat up to 181. Republicans, though, right there on the cusp of that 200 mark. Now, as they were saying, Don Bacon did declare victory, but AP News has not officially called that race. Once they do, and we mark one of these little dots red, that's going to put them at that 200 mark, getting closer and closer to that majority of 218. We do want to take a look, though, real quick at the breakdown between these two candidates in CD2. So when we zoom in here to the district, you can see that 51%, 48%. When you look at the different breakdown between the counties, though, here in Douglas County, Tony Vargas got the majority there, 51% compared to Don Bacon, 48%. But as we were learning these results early in the morning around 2:30, there was a large number of votes that came in from Saunders County, and that sort of was what shifted those numbers. 75%, an overwhelming majority here in favor of Don Bacon compared to Tony Vargas. Once we do get that official call, we will let you know. Today, to give you another look at what those numbers look like as far as where the House numbers stand. Since we were last updating you yesterday on daybreak and in midday, Democrats have picked up a couple seats, Republicans as well, but neither party has still hit that 218 to get to that majority. Now, these numbers, again, did not include CD2's race. Even though Don Bacon has declared victory, that race has not officially been called by AP News. Once it is, though, we will be able to update these totals with that. For Iowa Congressional District 1, 2, that razor-thin margin you saw there, 50-50. We did the numbers. Less than 1,000 votes are separating those two candidates there. Now in the Senate, no new races have been called. It's super tight, though. We're looking at some new races in Nevada as well as Pennsylvania, too. The margin in Pennsylvania between that Senate race, a 0.4% difference. So there's still a lot to go through, a lot of votes to be counted for as far as many of these races go in both the House and the Senate. Guys, going to head over to the touchboard now for another look at the Electoral College. Now, when you look at this map, you see there's only one state left to be filled in, Arizona. They have not officially called that race yet, but Trump is leading there. We take a look at Nevada. That was the race that was called earlier this morning. Now, this is a state that Trump had not won in both 2016 and 2020. But if you take a look at many of those battleground states, flipped for 2024. That's just one of them. Now, let's take a look again at our numbers for control of the U.S. House. The balance of power is still not decided. We're waiting on 25 races to still be called, but Republicans are inching closer towards that 218 mark. One of the races that is not still officially filled in is our very own CD2. We are still waiting for that official call from AP News. Once it is decided, though, we will fill that in, and that will put the Republicans, if it is decided for Don Bacon, one step closer to that majority. Cerise.